Welcome, friends. Silas here. Welcome to class. Today I want to share with you a yin practice. So we pick a few poses, we hold them for long periods of time and give the body some time to restore, to unwind, reset, open up, while also giving the mind some space to unfold and unravel. Good to have you here. Thank you for taking the time. If you have a block and a bolster, they would come in handy. Otherwise, you can use any big pillow that you have lying around at home. If it's a big couch cushion or, any cushion will do. And then find your way into a seat. Begin to sit cross-legged on your shins. Either way, just a seat that is comfortable, a seat where you can bring your spine upright. And then gently close down through your eyes. You can have the hands on your thighs, knees, or in your lap. And just take a moment to arrive in your space. Taking a moment to arrive on your mat. Just acknowledging how you got here. Acknowledging whatever you've done before. And begin to bring the hands to the center of your heart. In this gesture of gratitude, acknowledging your effort that it took to be here. As you begin to sit here in this gesture of balance and gratitude, begin to become aware of your breath. Making a commitment to let the breath be the guide throughout class. In practice, it's not about making a shape or pose look a certain way. It's more about letting the breath find the pose for you. Or making a commitment to let the breath be the guide in your poses, in your shapes. And as the palms press into each other, begin to rub the palms against one another. And begin to make some heat in between your hands. And when that heat begins to build up, you lift your hands over your closed eyes. Let the heat radiate inwards. And crack open your fingertips, crack open your eyes, and slowly pull the hands down your face. And then make your way forward into an all-fours position. Coming into all fours. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And begin to just feel yourself into your body with a couple cat and cows. On the inhale, the belly drops, the chest pulls forward, and you look up. On the exhale, begin to slide the tailbone under, dome the back, tuck the chin in. You alternate. On the inhale, you come back forward, you let the belly drop. Pull the shoulder blades together. Exhale, spread the shoulder blades apart, dome the back. A couple more breaths, joining breath and movement. Also feeling free to add on by just letting the spine roll in all 6 directions, sideways, diagonal. Just exploring how your body feels. Still using this time to let yourself arrive and drop into the sensations of your body. And taking 2 more rounds of breath, 2 more rounds of movement, just letting the spine dance. Now maybe in this snake dance action, the spine just moves freely. And then we come back to center. Set the knees a little bit wider, big toes together to touch, and you can use your bolster. We're coming into a child's pose. I like to push the bolster all the way underneath my hips, so my hips feel supported. And because my torso is too long and the bolster is too short, I'm using a block right underneath my forehead. And then I'm resting my palms down. Let them face up in a receiving gesture. Let my hips be heavy. I begin to breathe. Or I begin to pay attention to the breath. Breath is already there. And I begin to breathe against the support underneath you. So if you have a bolster, cushion, support underneath your belly, even if you don't have support and you have the knees closed, you can begin to breathe into your belly button and you feel the stomach expand against the bolster, against the support underneath you. Let that breath illuminate the entire lower body. As you breathe into the stomach, you feel not just the stomach expand, but also the lower back. Knowing that the pose that you set up at the start, sometimes you feel like you need to adjust. For me, for example, I sometimes like to leave the block on the highest setting. Sometimes I like to come one setting down. I think today I stay on the higher. And then as you pay awareness to the breath, you begin to maybe also close down through your eyes. I want you to place yourself for the duration of this practice into a triangle. A triangle of awareness. And in each of the corners of the triangles, you will have a little tool to help you to deepen your experience. In one corner, you will have the breath. It's already established an even rhythm of the breath. Just being aware of how it comes in and how it goes out. And in the other two corners, the second corner, you'll have sensations. You experience sensations throughout your body all the time. Observing how sensations change as you hold poses for a long period of time. In Yin we hold them anywhere from a minute to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So observing how sensations change throughout the body as you're holding a pose. And just becoming aware of how they feel or how they change. As long as they're not painful, we just let them be. And then in the last corner of your triangle, you'll have sounds. You can become aware of the sounds around you. The sounds you hear outside the room that you're in. There are sounds inside the room that you're in. Sound of my voice. Sound of your breath. And you're just aware of these sounds. Not trying to label them or name them. You don't have to try to understand. You simply let them play with your eardrums. One sound at a time. So with you being in the center of this triangle of awareness, you can let your awareness rest in any of these three corners. You can stay with sounds, you can stay with the sensations of your body and with the observation of the breath. In this child's pose for another minute and a half. Just letting your awareness be drawn into one of the three corners of the triangle that you placed yourself in. And taking your last 3 rounds of breath here. Maybe deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And slowly coming out of the pose by first removing the support underneath your forehead, placing the pillow or block to the side, and then slowly lifting your hips back up, coming into an all-fourth position, placing the support underneath you to the side, and then lower yourself all the way down onto the ground, coming all the way onto your belly, bringing the hands either together into a little cushion for your forehead, letting the legs rest. You can also bring the arms down the side of your body and just turn the head over to one side. Coming into this first rebound pose, as we call them in yoga. Coming into this first rebound pose, as we call them in Yin Yoga. Pose of balance and equanimity in between poses, where we get the opportunity to observe the cause and effect that this practice has. Tuning into the inner world, inner sensations, observing any change in blood flow, temperature, noticing how there might be fresh blood streaming down the inside of your legs, observing any sensations in the big toes, inner legs, inner knees. And rebound poses are hold anywhere between 30 seconds to 90 seconds. And the next inhale, we're going to come out of this pose and we're making our way into swings pose. So keep the legs straight down the mat and come onto your forearms. You can either just stay on your forearms, or if you want, you can take a block right underneath the forearm to relax the forehead onto. If you feel like you want some more support underneath your ribs, I like to use a bolster and place it underneath my armpits. It deepens the sensation through the back bend just a little bit. And it also gives me the opportunity to breathe into my rib cage. Breathe into the bolster. Letting the forehead relax if you have a block underneath. In general, try to release any resistance that you hold. And let your awareness drift back into the triangle that we built earlier. Triangle of breath, the triangle of sounds, and the triangle of sensations. Begin to let your awareness rest in any of the three corners. Let the breath come in and out. Notice if you're one of these people that when you get reminded of the breath, you deepen your in and exhale. Can you let your awareness simply rest on the breath without necessarily interfering? Just letting the breath be whatever it is. Letting it come in and letting it go out. Observing this characteristic all the three corners of your triangle have in common. This characteristic of arising and passing away. Things always change. Observing this ever-changing characteristic of the breath. But to breathe means to become present. You won't be able to breathe for anything that happened in the past, and you won't be able to breathe in advance for your life in the future. Some people even say that we only have a limited amount of breaths in our lives, and once we use them all up, we use them all up. So let your breathing slow down. Let the in and exhale even out. Observing this ever-changing phenomenon of inhaling and exhaling, while you begin to sink deeper into whatever support you have underneath you. We're here for another 3 rounds of breath. Maybe even letting the breath go out through your mouth. Last circle. And slowly lifting your head back off the support, placing the block to the side, and then pushing the bolster out underneath you, laying back down onto our belly. You choose if you want to make a little cushion with your head or just bring the arms down your side, turning one cheek onto the ground, bringing your awareness into the edge of the lower rib cage, and feeling this flushing sensation down the back of your legs. Just letting the sensations appear and disappear. And then we're gonna make our way into the next shape, and we will gracefully do a pancake transition, meaning we just gonna flip ourselves onto our back, and then laying flat down, letting the legs travel down the mat and bring them out to the outer edges, and then lift the left leg up and place the left ankle over the right. Then reach your arms over your head and grab the left wrist or left forearm with your right hand, and you begin to pull yourself into this shape of a banana towards the right, coming into a pose called Bananasana. Making sure both hip points are pointing straight up to the sky. Oftentimes we see students roll over onto the right side. Try to keep both sitting bones on the ground. Releasing any tension you hold in the left leg. Pulling yourself into this banana shape towards the right. Finding a comfortable position for the neck, the head. Sometimes snuggling it against the bicep of the left arm in this case can feel quite nice. Breathing into the left outer channel, the left outer ribs. Bringing your awareness back into one of the three corners of your triangle. Breath, sounds, sensations. And just as you observe the impermanence of your breath and the ever-changing sounds around you, you can observe the ever-changing nature of your sensations. You feel sensations everywhere in your body all the time. Oftentimes we're just not aware of them happening. You forget how your little toes feeling till you bring awareness into them. And then sensations have the same changing characteristic of they are impermanent. They come up and they leave again. Some sensations stay for longer, some stay for shorter periods of time. Just observing how they change. How the sensations in your left shoulder might have changed compared to when you first lifted your arms over your head. It's actually an action we rarely do anymore nowadays, lifting our arms over our head. We work so much on computers, desks. We have our arms constantly underneath our shoulders. So this can feel quite uncomfortable in the left shoulder. As long as it isn't painful and you can still breathe, and the thoughts that come up around the sensation aren't too terrible, why don't we stay here for a little longer? Continuously breathing, observing the ever-changing phenomenon of sensations, but also sounds and breath. And then know whatever thoughts arise are part of the pose. They're part of the sensation, they are part of the sounds, and they're part of the breath. Not beating yourself up if you get distracted by thoughts. You don't have to stop thinking when you do yoga. You don't have to stop thinking when you meditate. Telling your head to stop thinking is like telling your lungs to stop breathing, It just doesn't work. Thoughts come up like hiccups. But instead of reacting to them, this time we just let them be there. We consciously regather our awareness in either breath, sensation, or sounds. And taking your final 3 rounds of breath here. Deep inhale in. Over mouth, let it go. Last one. Slowly release the grip of your hands. Coming back to Shavasana, letting both legs travel down the mat. Both arms come down the side. Just letting yourself be, not changing or shaking your body out, just observing. Observing left and right side. Sometimes it can feel like that one side is bigger than the other. One leg longer than the other. Just observing the cause and effect that a yin practice has on your body. Blood flow, sensations, temperature. It's a very cooling practice. And then we're changing sides, bringing the feet back to the outer edges of the mat. This time the right leg lifts up, the right ankle crosses over the left ankle. Both arms reach up towards the sky, then grab the right forearm or right wrist with your left hand. And begin to pull yourself into this banana shape over towards the left side. You can always shimmy the legs further over or pull yourself further into the bind. And just look for something that is comfortable. Finding a comfortable position for your neck. Letting both hip bones pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Both sit bones are grounded down. If you wonder what the difference between hip bones and sit bones is, your hip bones are the 2 bony bits at the front of your hips. They're like your headlights. And the sitting bones, I think the name suggests it, it's the 2 bony bits that you feel when you sit on a chair. The sitting bones are connected towards the floor, and the hip bones, the 2 headlights of your hips that you could feel if you would bring both hands to your hips, they're pointing straight up towards the sky. And then for the reminder of this pose, I'm trying to shut up. I'll let you dial into any of the 3 corners: breath, sensation, or sounds. Taking your last 3 breaths here. Maybe the deepest breaths you've taken all practice. And slowly unravel. Letting both arms come down the side, both legs straight down the mat. And back to Shavasana, just observing how it feels now that you've done both sides. Observing left and right side. This posture is incredibly beneficial when you sit a lot on your desk. In yoga we do a lot of forward folding, twisting, back bending. We do some side stretches, but we rarely hold them for longer periods of time. And just letting yourself feel the after effects of this pose. And slowly re-bending the knees, bringing the bottoms of your feet down towards the ground, and lift the hips up. We're coming into a supported bridge, and slide either a block or a bolster underneath your sacrum. So the sacrum is the triangular bone right at the base of your spine, the centerpiece of your hips. And then when the hips feel supported and elevated, you let the arms go, palms can face up. Then you decide if you want to keep the knees bent, if you want to bring the feet out wide and let the knees fall together at center. If you want to straighten the legs down the mat, just notice how that feels through the lower back. Another option is also to take the legs straight up towards the sky. Just notice what you feel like you need for these last couple minutes, this last final pause. I think I stay with legs up towards the ceiling, but feel free to change or choose into any variation that you feel like you need. Letting the blood flow back towards the heart. It's a very cooling sensation to have the hips over the heart. And if you have the legs lifted, it's also like legs up the wall. If you have difficulty sleeping, for example, because it's too hot, if you live somewhere where it's really warm, Southeast Asia, or you experience one of Europeans' very common hot summers nowadays, or you live in a tropical area, having the hips and legs elevated from your heart can have this cooling sensation. And to fall asleep, your core body temperature needs to drop by 1 degree. So elevating your legs or your hips can feel very cooling. Can help you fall asleep. It's not a proper fix, not a quick fix to fall asleep. Sleep is the only thing that we do, the harder we try, the harder it gets. But there are little tools and little adjustment screws that we can kind of twitch and turn on that will benefit a good night of sleep, or enhance our chances of a good night of sleep. Legs up the wall, turning the phone or TV off in time, going to bed in time. It's quite interesting that as we grow older, we don't have a bedtime as adults, but we make our kids go to bed at a certain time. Maybe also something to consider for yourself. And for these final moments, just let your awareness rest anywhere where you feel like you want it to go or to rest on. And taking your final 3 breaths here. And then slowly bending the knees again. If you have them up towards the ceiling, bringing them back down. If you have them straightened, just bend the knees again, place the feet back onto the ground, lift the hips up. And then if you have a bolster, you can either just pull it out or you slide it down underneath your knees. If you are someone that has a very funny or sensitive lower back, to elevate your knees in Shavasana can feel quite nice. You can also just pull it out, and then we're finding our final resting pose, Shavasana, letting the legs travel straight down the mat, palms face up, then taking 3 final rounds of breath. Deep breath in through the nose, open mouth, let it go. 2 more deep breath in. Open mouth, let it go. Last 1, deep breath in. Open mouth, let it go. And then releasing any tension. Releasing the control of the breath. Surrendering your body into this posture. Noticing if you hold any tension in your face, your shoulders, arms, hands, fingertips, feeling your neck and chest relax. The entire torso is heavy. The hips are releasing any last little bit of tension that they hold. Feel the legs externally rotate if they haven't already. Thighs, knees, and calves are heavy. Releasing your ankles, feet, and toes. Letting the entire body rest. Letting yourself rest in this triangle that you created. Observing the happening of an effortless breath. The sensations of eternal rest. The sounds of a never-ending concert of life. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking and making the time. Stay here as long as you need, knowing that you can always come back onto the mat to cultivate a feeling of coming home to yourself. I'm gonna finish off with us being in Shavasana. Take as much time to get out as you need. And I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.